Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me on my morning walk. I am in the state of Minnesota. We've been here for a few weeks now. We're doing this road trip, not through all of America, but through some of America, visiting some family, in particular my wife's family. And I wanted to share some reflections this morning because I've been thinking about my podcast, The Circle, and we're just about at a 1-year anniversary. We started August 1st, 2024, and so I'm just reflecting on it and wanted to share some of those reflections with you. So first I'm thinking about what's happened so far, then I'm thinking about what's to come, right? So what's happened so far is I think we're doing something that's pretty novel and unique, and that was my vision, having the idea of people sitting around a bonfire at night and just having these really deep conversations about life. And I would say the two primary focuses of these deep conversations are holistic wellness and really exploring deeply spirituality and religion and the cross-section between those two elements, which I view as the deepest elements of life, the root of the tree, as I call it, and the various other elements of our lives and how they interrelate and integrate together. So we've had people from all different walks of life coming together and discussing from a real field of presence and depth together. Then we started having featured guests. So we'd have a featured guest with the focus being on that guest, and then the people in the circle being able to ask them questions, share reflections with them. So I certainly have learned a lot in the process, and I do feel inspired to keep going and take this further. I think we're in a time where things are really divided, they're really polarized, they're really segregated, and the information sharing is siloed. So really people don't have any idea of other people's perspectives besides their own and the people that think like them, generally speaking, and therefore they are not able to widen their field of consciousness, to widen their field of awareness and grow in depth and wisdom the way you obviously can when you're exposed to a wide variety of perspectives, ideas. This is what the university was supposed to be designed for, but it's kind of lost its compass over time. So it's sort of like a university, right? Is in the sense of like you're going to be exposed to, including myself, different ideas, different perspectives. If you're used to just hearing people on the so-called left or the so-called right or the so-called conservative or so-called liberal or so-called progressive or so-called whatever, capitalist, communist, socialist, religious, non-religious, spiritual, atheist, my idea, my vision is that you hear all the perspectives and we have a real conversation and dialogue to get to the truth, to get to the heart of the matter. And I guess I want to say that to me there is a truth. So it's not just this relative thing of like, oh, let's just hear a bunch of different ideas and aren't they all nice? No, I want to get to the truth, but I want to be able to hear all the diversity of perspectives and ideas. So some of the things that I envision coming up would be people of different religious backgrounds, people of different perspectives on a whole variety of different things. So we can access from these wider, take from the widest field possible, leaving nothing out, and from there move into the truth, which those of you who know me pretty well know that the truth, and this is kind of the paradox of the podcast, right? The truth is actually deeper than words, deeper than the mind, deeper than thought, deeper than anything we could express verbally. However, when we access that truth, there are words, there are narratives, there are stories, there are rituals that can express that truth beautifully. They're in alignment with that truth. So that's our intention with the podcast. And the last thing I want to say is that the intention is to make you slightly uncomfortable. I really want to articulate that and make that clear. The intention is to make you slightly uncomfortable, not so uncomfortable that you go into a trauma state. We certainly don't want that, but not so comfortable that like nothing's happening. There's no growth, there's no evolution, there's no expansion. The growth and the expansion, the evolution, the awakening in consciousness can only happen when you're slightly uncomfortable, when you're slightly off balance, when you're slightly off edge, because that's when something new, something greater, something more whole, something more integrated, something soaked more deeply in wisdom and maturity and activation and realization and fullness can come into being. So I just wanted you to keep that in mind as we move forward, that the intention is to keep you slightly uncomfortable. And so if that's happening, you're in a good place. Not too uncomfortable, but not completely comfortable. I love you all, appreciate you all. I'm really grateful for all your feedback, your reflections. I feel blessed that we've been doing the circle for a year now, and I'm looking forward to what's to come. Just to be clear, I've been doing a podcast for longer than that, but this particular manifestation, and we're celebrating a year anniversary. You can subscribe, you can notifications, all that stuff people talk about. I don't talk about it so much, but you can subscribe. You can also support through Patreon. I'll put some links in the description.